Hello?
Hello, Jughead. This is Archie. Come over right away. It's a matter of life or death.
Oh, relax, Archie.
Attention, all true believers. Marvel Comics is on the air.
A friend of the unfortunate, enemy of criminals. In reality, Dan Garrett, a rookie patrolman, loved by everyone but suspected by none of being the Blue Beetle.
Boys and girls, your attention, please. Presenting a new exciting radio program featuring the thrilling adventures of an amazing and incredible personality. Faster than an airplane, more powerful than a locomotive, impervious to bullets.
Up in the sky, look!
It's a bird, it's a plane, it's Superman!
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Speaking of hotkeys.
What?
Speaking of hotkeys, that's what happened. That's why that message popped up. Somehow I hit a hotkey by mistake. So if anybody saw that.
Hit those likes, shares buttons, that one?
No, I hit something when I was typing and one of the comments popped up on screen while the intro was playing.
Very cool. He'll hide.
I wasn't watching. I'm trying to figure out why Facebook doesn't work again. And at this point, I'm willing to threaten Mark Zuckerberg's life publicly on the air.
Well, if you can't find it on Facebook, you can watch it on my page. It's live on our store page for you guys.
For now.
And I
but
share.
Here's the problem. Here's the real problem. It's connected through the same account.
Oh.
Nothing works this week, Kyle. It's all broken. It has too much tryptophan. It's too much tryptophan, so it doesn't know what to do.
When I disconnect the Experience Facebook account from StreamYard, it also disconnects the Space Cadets Facebook from StreamYard because it's connected both through my Facebook account.
See what the common problem is here. You.
But yours is working and ours is not.
I lead a blessed life.
All comics are awful because meta sucks.
Wow. Hello, everybody. It's a happy day for comic books. I'm going to do a little bit of news ahead of time. This week is going to be a very weird week at your LCS. Just know. They didn't do anything bad. Nothing's broken on their part. They did all the things they're supposed to do, and they ordered stuff on time. Diamond, which is the oldest of our distributors currently that we use, is going from two giant warehouses to one giant warehouse. And everything is discombobulated over there. So no comic book store, as far as I know, has their Diamond comics this week. So if your store orders directly from Diamond for all their stuff, then they're not going to have anything. And if they just order some of their stuff, they're not going to have those titles. Don't be mad at them. They'll get them eventually, and it'll be fun. It'll be like a second new comic book day for you. And then you have comic book stores like mine, which for some reason, FedEx decided to deliver our boxes for the stuff from Lunar, which is DC and Image, to someone else in the center who decided not to give them to us. So we also don't have those. So it's chaos week, but the comic books are still cool. So
disagree.
I'm going to do one of those, like, who's that guy that had the show? He would
Johnny Carson?
See the future. Like, I'm going to see the future. Kyle's going to not like any book that he read this week, but then halfway through the review is going to like it.
No, that's not true.
That's not true. Sometimes it doesn't happen, right? Does Mad Cave use Lunar? Mad Cave. Where do I get my Mad Cave from? I think you should be safe. I think it is Lunar. So I think you're good.
I think they're both, but
Yeah,
all right. X-Men. We got a lot of books because we all three read this week. So we
I'm sorry. This is kind of a short and sweet thing. X-Men was the first of the new X-Men related titles out of the gate. And so they're ahead of the game here at issue number, what is this, 8? As you might not remember, at the end of every crazy thing from Krakoa, no one trusts mutants anymore. So many of them are at Grey Malkin, which is a prison. So this is the mutants that are not in Grey Malkin. I think it's Cyclops and a bunch of ones you would normally suspect would never be captured are going in to break out the ones that are in prison. So you get to see kind of the dire circumstances they're under, including, being tortured for reasons.
All right. So, first thing I noticed is this book has like an old Western feel to it. Like even has a saloon in it. It's very different from the other Thundercats titles. Very different. And this main character, without getting too spoilery, feels like a Mumra version of a Thundercat almost. This one is very brutal, bloody, violent. It was surprising how much of a shift in tone this book is. And when you find out who this person is, I haven't been following this, so I don't know if it's known who this is. So just in case it's not, I'm not going to say who it is, but I was kind of blown away when I found out who it was. So
is it Snarf?
Man, I wish.
I'm out.
Snarf. I will say this: if you've been enjoying these Thundercats books, this one to me is a definite pickup. You don't want to skip out. There's something about it. Like it's really not like reading the other ones. So, like I said, if you've been digging the Thundercat stuff, I don't think this is going to be any different. You should definitely grab this one too. Well, I know, Snarf.
All right, Dick Tracy. So I have to go do some research because of this book this week, which is a good thing when you can make me have to look things up about Dick Tracy. So shout out to Alex Segura for that. There is a new baddie introduced in Dick Tracy number 6 that I'm going to call this their first appearance in modern comics, but it might be their first appearance overall. They were referenced vaguely in issue 5. But this is the moment to me where Alex Segura takes the Dick Tracy story he's been telling and firmly pivots away from the Dick Tracy lore we've had since 1939. Okay. Thus far, it's been war hero cops versus organized crime bad guys. And now we've introduced this new baddie who is like, you don't know if he's one of those two groups, but they certainly have a pathology that Mandy Patinkin and those people from that show would really like to investigate. If you're picking up what I'm putting down. And Preston, it may not be a new villain. It may just be a new presentation of a villain that existed before. That's the thing where I'm like, I need to do some research on this one. Just because, again, doesn't look like a character I recognize. And while the name is recognizable, I don't necessarily think we're treating it the same way. I don't want to I'm trying really hard not to be spoilery here. But let me do a little bit of Googling and some research and read some of the trades that I've got, skim some of the trades that I've got, and I'll get back to you. But to me, this is, again, still the first time we've seen a pivot from your traditional Dick Tracy. So issue 6 is really big and important, and I like it a lot.
Okay. I'm a couple issues back in this, so I don't know how long this part has been going on, but this book opens with Wolverine in kind of like he's hiding out in a cabin. He's escaped over the border from Canada into America, but they don't really tell you where. But he is he's trying to get Wendigo back from his very primal state of not even slightly resembling the human form that he actually has inside. So he's been working on that. I mean, really his biggest accomplishment is that he gets him to actually say his name, which is interesting. And then he gets found out. There's some giant explosion that happens near the cabin, which pulls Wolverine out, which you got to know. Like you can kind of like in comic books now, he's like, what's the likelihood that there's a giant explosion near his cabin in the middle of the woods where no one knows where he is, quote unquote. And he smells in the explosion itself is kind of military grade something. So I don't know how he doesn't know not to go over there, but anyway, I guess he's primal himself. So this is cool. Introduces a character that's clearly on the front cover there. You've seen him before, but there is another character that shows up that's a big surprise in here that I don't remember seeing before, but seems very dangerous. This one doesn't have necessarily move forward giant new ground, but has something happen with his adamantium, which is I've never seen happen before. So it's cool.
See, I put that in the comments, and I can't remember if that was Constrictor and Cap or Constrictor and Wolverine. It was an old cover we had on Comic Collectibles the other day.
Yeah.
Okay, is my weird book next? Yes. Okay.
See, I wanted to read this, and you picked it, and now you call it your weird book, and I'm really bummed I didn't get to read it because it's weird.
I kind of wish you had, because maybe you could explain it to me.
Well, I can explain a lot of things because bah humbug.
Well, I'm not sure what to make of this one. Like it starts out with a kid dreaming, about his dad calling him into the house, but his dad starts shutting the door before he can get in the house, and he's got like these snowmen and Santas like following behind him, and you find out it's this grown man's nightmare he was having. He's got, he's a family man. He's had a bad day at work, and he later on meets his family at the mall to see Santa. And for some reason, he just decides to do Christmas for a year. Starting with this issue. Like the worst thing that happens in this book is he gets into a fight with some guy at the mall. But
that can be very dangerous.
I don't know if this is going to be a horror book or some kind of thriller, because there's nothing that indicates anything. Like other than the tree lighting on fire, which was an accident, there's nothing like malicious about it. It very well could just be a slice of life comic, and since it's Dark Horse, I'm reading too much into it. But I don't know. I need somebody else to read this to see if maybe they pick up on something that I didn't, because there's nothing like there to tell me, hey, this is going to be, the man's going to go crazy and kill people. We're going to have another garbage day, Silent Night thing going on here. There's nothing there. So I don't know if they're saving that for another issue, but there wasn't anything in this that like the only hook I have is I want to find out if in the next issue anything happens. Like that's the hook of this book. It was just really weird to me. So
Eddie's got a really good eye. I didn't see that. Did you guys see?
No.
The little girl's putting a jack-o'-lantern on their Christmas tree.
And there's an Uncle Sam hat hanging and an Easter bunny and a pilgrim hat. And
because remember, it's 365 days of Christmas.
Right. There's a 4-leaf clover. Like the find all of the things on the tree is a game in and of itself. But as someone who detests Christmas, I'm excited to read this. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and pardon my French, everybody. This book is batshit crazy. Like, I can't even say bat crap crazy because that is too much of an understatement for how crazy this book is. This is the story of a haunted painting that's not actually haunted. It's possessed, but it's not possessed by anything. It's possessed by a curse, and it eats people. But it doesn't eat people. It claims people and pulls people in to the painting. And then other people leave the painting to bring people into the painting. And that's issue 1. In issue 2, you learn that there's this group of guys who work during the hour of the wolf, which is the hour when your heart stops. I don't really understand that. What that means? Like, is it some sort of like phraseology that anyway. But this guy's job, he feels, is to protect a family who is currently under attack by a painting. But the only way he can do that is by beating up the old guy who's been dead for hundreds of years who painted the painting. I know. I see your face, Miss Jen. There are not enough drugs for me to take to understand this book. At one point, the guy is using painting implements to carve someone's eye sockets out because they'd have no eye sockets. And I'm like looking at this going, I am so grossed out by this book, but I cannot put it down. This book makes no sense, and I do not know what Mark London is going for, but I will say this. Mark, seek help.
I've never, ever heard of Hour of the Wolf. I've heard of the Witching Hour.
That's what I'm saying.
3 a.m. when it wakes you up and you know, like, must be time to pray, I guess.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Preston, it's not that the review is bad. It's that the book makes no sense. I cannot make sense of a book that makes no sense. It's just, again, this is in true real review here. Wait for the trade. Okay? Sit down and read this in one shot and then go see a therapist after. Like, reading this in parts just makes it.
Oh, it's a punk band.
Too convoluted. And if maybe that's part of it, JD Smith, I do not know. That's the problem. There's no clear through line or sense of centering in this book yet. So again, I think this is one of those wait for the trades and read them. Read them all together. I'm reading Eddie's comment.
Yeah, when we hit daylight savings time, that's when they switched to the Hour of the Wolf. And I totally just made that up. So
they switch over between 2 and 3, Jay, not 3 and 4.
I just joke.
It's a time when you can't sleep, not for lack of trying. So you mean every night?
Yeah,
the Hour of the Wolf? Golly.
Yeah, I have no.
Hours of the Wolf.
Again, like it's. I think this is one that just it's a really fast buildup for a slow burn. I think we're going to find out a lot later on, but I don't think this is a good book, individual issues. I'm going to go on Mad Cave's website and see if the trade is already up and see if I can read the trade. Howard the Wolf was my nickname in high school. See, my nickname in high school was Hungry Like the Wolf.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so oh my goodness, I've missed a ton of stuff for the Ultimates. I think I read number 1. It has moved quite far along in the storyline. Something came to a big head recently in the book, and I don't know if you remember a lot of the characters, but in this the Ultimates universe, Howard Stark is alive and Tony is young, and he becomes Iron Lad, which is on the front there, and he had a cruel fate befall him at the end of the last issue, I believe. So at the beginning of this book, I mean, it's not spoilers, happened whatever last issue was, like he's dead. So this is them going with the knowledge there's something that's happened, like they've pulled back and there's not any more confrontation in this regard. I think they said for 12 months. And I think they're actually rolling that out in real time for the comics. So we're going to have 11 more issues of waiting for something terrible to come. It's cool also because I don't know if you can see them on the cover there. Their Hawkeye character is really cool. There's a couple of the characters that it looks like they've pulled those characters into like indigenous people's territory. And they look really, really cool. Like the kind of She-Hulkish character. That's the wrong point. The She-Hulkish character at the very bottom of the page. I really, really like that design. I love the Hawkeye design. This is cool. It's Ultimate the same from the Mark Millar Ultimates. Totally new start. This is Hickman doing his whole universe totally separated out from any other Ultimate universe. You can go pick up right now the first trades for Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate Black Panther, Ultimate X-Men are all available, and the Ultimates first trade should come out very soon. And I recommend all of it. Oh my goodness.
Speaking of weird, this is a property that's always been weird to me. And the reason being is I did not grow up in a had cable house, not even basic cable. Everything I watched was like Channel 39, Fox 26, Paramount went back
over the air TVs.
There you go. So, I missed out on a lot of this. Like people make Johnny Bravo quotes all the time, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, you didn't like Doug? I could never watch it.
Wait, Jay, were you raised on PBS?
Yes. That's how I saw Doctor Who for the first time. Tom Baker, because they used to play old Doctor Who episodes on PBS. And Ghost Rider and Mr. Rogers and everything, of course. Mm-hmm. So seeing some of the stuff as an adult, it's just weird to me, but I also get the appeal. There's a lot of funny stuff that happens in these shows. Some of these things that I'm pretty sure when the kids who watched them at first didn't really catch on until they were adults and saw it again. I get the appeal. So that's why I grabbed this. This is basically the girls wanting to get the professor just the best gift ever. And he tells them as they're leaving, let's try to cut down on the property damage and violence today, huh? So they split up and they each have like their own little adventures with that. I guess for a lot of people are going to be familiar faces. Okay. I don't know. There's like a boy version of the Powerpuff Girls that they meet. I don't know who they are, but and for whatever reason, Mojo Jojo is the only character I recognize. I've never watched the show a day in my life, but for some reason, I know who Mojo Jojo is.
A lot of merch for Mojo Jojo.
That must be it. I couldn't name the Powerpuff Girls to save my life. I know one's like Buttercup, but that's about it. But like I said, I know Mojo Jojo. Maybe it is the retailer side of it is why. This is another one that I would tell you that if you've been reading the main story, I think it's a good one. It's fun. It's definitely something that you could read. Oh, thank you, Liz. Rough Boys. Okay. I think it's a good one. I think you're going to be entertained. Preston, thank you. uh, if you have kids in your life, I think they're going to enjoy it. I mean, it's a cute thing. It's not overly. It doesn't feel like there's a whole lot of adult humor kind of interjected. Those sly little things they put in that adults are going to laugh at. But I found some of it funny. So if you've been reading the regular series, pick this one up. It's good.
All right, I have an answer for the question that said Ultimate Invasion take place before the new Ultimates. So here's your reading order, official reading order. It says Ultimate Invasion 1 through 4, then read Ultimate Universe number 1, and then any ongoing Ultimate Universe series, Spider-Man, Black Panther, X-Men, and then Ultimates. That's how they came out.
Long Cold Winter. Francesca Perillo and Stefano Cardicelli. I say this every time we have a Stefano Cardicelli book. If you look at this cover and go, this art isn't for you, for me, don't buy the book. Also, what are you, not like Keith Giffen? What's the matter with you? But Long Cold Winter is a post-apocalyptic world story, which a lot of Stefano Cardicelli's books are. Like, this feels a lot like some of the other books that he's done at Mad Cave, where the world is over and there's an environmental apocalypse and there is otherness because of people who can afford to live and people who can't, and this, that, and the other thing, right? So this is the story of the big guy who is like a known fighter. He's somebody who everybody knows is tough. Everybody knows his fight, can handle himself. It opens with him killing a bunch of would-be assassins. Apparently he has a price on his head. The big thing about this world is that the oxygen is so bad that only the super rich can afford to breathe. So they are implanted with microchips so that they can go out into the world and the microchips help them to breathe. Everybody else has to like stay inside where they have air filtration and all kinds of stuff. And robots. There are also robots.
Sorry, that's robots. Get it straight.
Robots. Hey, Castle, hit refresh, man. You're like 2.5, 3 minutes behind here, homie. So apparently there's like, that place where they go at the end of I Am Legend? There's like a community in the mountains where I Am Legend didn't happen. The little robot guy wants to go there. And so he enlists the big guy, who is apparently not a robot, who's apparently a rich person who has a microchip to help him get there. And this is the beginning of their journey. Why is it called Long Cold Winter? I have no idea. It ends with a dust storm in the desert. We're going to figure out Long Cold Winter as we go on. But this is a really interesting sort of story with really specific art. I like the story. It's a concept that, while we've seen similar concepts recently, and especially from Mad Cave and especially from Stefano Cardicelli, it's a unique enough take that it's interesting to read. But again, guys, if this art style that is the cover is a turnoff for you, that is every inch of every page. So just know that going in, right? Because I know it isn't for some people. So
What does this bag say? It says, "Give something a chance."
Give peace a chance.
It gives peace. Okay, that makes sense.
I love the sword. There's something about the sword. That's the first thing I saw when I looked at the cover.
The sword does things, man. The sword does things. It doesn't talk, but it does other things.
Okay, this is a remarkably fun read. There are multiple stories in this book. The first two focus in on Hanukkah, and then the others a more generalized holiday. Let me see if I can remember. They're like really short, so I don't want to like go into detail for them because they're not any fun that way. I will just say they're, like every year Marvel does and DC does a holiday related issue. And I always really like them because they're little bite-sized stories with characters that you already like. The one that I think I like the most is the middle story, where it is one of the characters. They've all gotten together to have a gathering, and one of them realizes that they want desperately to give Hanukkah gifts, but they did not have a chance to go get them beforehand. And there's like crises that keep coming up. So it keeps on making sure that they can't go get them. It's 8 days that they have, right, during Hanukkah to do it. But it's neat. They have a panel at the bottom of the page, which shows the lighting of the candles. And the pages themselves are the, like fighting this battle, fighting that battle, doing these things. And it's just really sweet to get it all to the end. And she actually shows up with presents. So it's kind of nice. Is that Frosty the symbiote? I don't know. I think this cover is a lie. I don't remember that character at all in this book.
Don't sleep on these books, though, during the holidays, guys. A lot of times these companies will sneak low-key first appearances of characters that show up later in the year into these books.
It's really
so
true.
Don't sleep on these. Okay, I clicked. Hold on. There we go. Is this Conan versus the corporate landlord?
Maybe.
Blackstone's a big corporate landlord.
All I know is it's Mike Diodato cover. I saw this and I was like, "Yep, gotta grab this one." I love this cover. First off, the art in these Conan books to me have just always been fantastic. I love how they have this very old school style look to them. Very old school comic feel. This one was again a book that was very different from the other ones that I've read, because this one feels like it could take place in like the 15 to 1600s with the way some of the characters are dressed. Like it doesn't feel like back in that barbarian age like most of his books that I've read at least look like. And it also feels a bit more supernatural. Like lost my train of thought. Hold on. Like there's something that happens in this book where I'm like, I remember seeing Conan fight zombies, but this is a kind of a different thing that happens here. Which, I haven't read a ton of Conan stuff, so there could be plenty of Conan things where it really delves into the supernatural, but I can tell you this though too. This is another very bloody, very violent book. Some of the kills in this one are just spectacular. Like some of the coolest kills I've got to see this week in the books I read. So this is one of those where I will tell anyone, if you're already a Conan fan, and this one is in color, unlike the zombie or werewolf one I read last time. So this one is in color. This is a definite pickup. Like if it could take somebody like me who's not like, other than the movies, obviously, I'd never read too many Conan books, and I was interested in this one. Pretty sure the ones that are fans are gonna dig it. So
happy birthday, Kenneth! 65.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I did a double one this week.
Ooh.
Jay had to read. I think Jay read more books than Jen or I, because Jay had first dibs and Jen got, only a portion of her shipment.
I literally have less than a short box worth of books. It's crazy.
Right. So, Jay had to do back to backs and talk longer.
Yeah. Why did I do this one? It's a number 8. Why did I? Because I've read some of the other Dune books, and I always enjoy the art. Like the art, again, this is another one of those books where the art style is very unique. I don't really have a ton to say about this one because it is an issue 8, and reading from the beginning, these books kind of confuse me. Like they're not bad stories. It's just it's Game of Thrones. Like I hate using that. It feels like that, that's become such a cliche that everything is like Game of Thrones, even though this came first. I know that. But that's the best way I could explain how these comics work. And with a lot of these books, if you're going to jump into a Dune series, you really need to start at the beginning, because I know for a fact that there is probably very pivotal, crucial information I've missed in, the 7 issues before it I didn't read. This is another one of those that if you've been enjoying the Dune books, you should definitely pick this up, because even as lost as I am, the story was cool. It's one of those things that, like, you wouldn't jump into Dune 2 without watching Dune 1 first, right? You wouldn't jump into season 7 of The Walking Dead, because you'd really be lost. I wouldn't suggest doing it with this series. This is a series, while good, it is a comic that makes you think. And Preston, I'm 100% on board with you. I think that this is one that if I was going to collect, it wouldn't be single issues. I would have to have a trade and, binge the trade. Like I said, these Dune books have been good, but I really, especially myself, I really have to follow. Like, I really have to follow a series, because I am the dude that will read a comic, put it down, turn my head, turn back, and be like, oh, look, there's a comic here. Because I forget it as soon as I'm done with it. And it's not because of the writing or anything like that. It's just my brain does not retain comic knowledge. It just doesn't. I love comics, but I can't remember anything unless it's the most basic of basic stuff. This book is hard for me, but I still enjoy it. So there's my pitch for this one. If you're good at following things, following threads, these are the books for you.
I just real quick as an aside, guys, if I keep checking my phone, I am getting blown up right now by the guys who have new shows debuting Thursday and Friday here on the EXP. They are absolutely blowing my phone up. So we're going to talk about those in a little minute, but I keep checking, if for no other reason, just to shut it up for 5 minutes.
That is so good. That's exciting.
All right. This book, oh my God. Make this a movie yesterday. Okay. This book is incredible. The Exorcism is 1600 pen. In the first issue, it's the story of a new president and her children and her husband. And the children are at a new Catholic school. It's important that it's a Catholic school, by the way. Like I mentioned, it's not a private school, it's a Catholic school. And why that's important is in the first issue, the son does a blasphemous activity in the chapel, in the church. And his sister walks in on him and kind of stops him. And then bad stuff starts happening to the sister. The brother just wants to fit into the school, and the sister is not really concerned about that so much. But bad stuff starts happening to the sister. At the same time, and again, this is all issue 1. In issue 1, the mom is also dealing with an attack on U.S. operatives overseas of something called Havana syndrome. If you don't know what Havana syndrome is, it's a real thing. You can look it up. It has not been proven to be real yet, but people think it is, and it probably is. But it's this idea of using remote weaponry, usually sound waves or light waves or radio waves, to attack people. And often it manifests as hallucinations or sort of brain stuff. At the end of the first issue, the daughter has a seizure. And we come into issue 2, she's had a second seizure. And the dad, who's a former doctor, is trying to figure out how to treat her, and they're taking her to the hospital. And mom is dealing with this thing, and the brother goes in to try to like apologize and make up. And we are to believe that the daughter is possessed by the thing the brother has done, right? And you think she might be. It's why it's called an exorcism at 1600 pen, right? That tends to be pretty enlightening on what's happening. But she attacks her brother. And she's chanting in Latin, but she doesn't know Latin. All of this stuff that would be demonic possession is happening. And then stuff starts to really cascade, right? Like there's nothing that, like, you find out a bunch of information about the daughter in this issue, like that none of the stuff they expected to be wrong is wrong. Like, without getting too like spoilers heavy on it, you know, it's things like she attacks her dad and some of this other stuff. Come to find out at the end that this Havana syndrome may have more to do with everything that's happening than we think. This should be a movie or a TV show a la Madam Secretary or The Diplomat. There's so many opportunities with this book to be something really great on screen that I think, you know, people should read it now. If the politics of the whole thing scare you, because who wants to deal with politics right now? Don't worry about it. Just think any family in any position of power, right? Like it does, like the president. Yeah, it's an important part of the story, the fact that she's president, but it's important in the same way that Pa Kent is a farmer. Like it influences the situations that the main characters, which are the kids, are put in. Unless it's not really a political story. So just know that that's a safe thing.
Oh, this was a way fun book. So I don't know if the main series Deadpool and Wolverine is still going or not. I know I have a couple of issues on my wall still. I couldn't remember if it was still going. The name of the book isn't just for fun. It actually is in play for what's going on in the book. So this book is essentially, if you really love the movie Deadpool and Wolverine, you will love this book. So Wade is desperate to be friends with Logan, as always. And the book starts out with him showing up at a bar where Logan is trying to have a beer. Alone. Very alone. Definitely without Deadpool. And it goes way off the rails. Like it has all the fights between them. Like you are used to really good, unique ways to injure each other. But something happens early on in which Wade says, wouldn't it be interesting, I think, if there was another dimension where fill in the blank. And all of a sudden a portal opens up and sucks them both into it. And the rest of the book is them trying to figure out, did Wade actually create this portal to wherever they are now? In which they go through, I'll give you some examples. One of the ones they end up in is where they are Fox versions of themselves. So why? I don't know, but it's a fun little excursus into the what if kind of interaction. So they're trying to figure out what they need to do to get back home to their own, who's causing it, and that does get answered. So just know there's a payoff, and that is a big payoff. So if you've been paying attention to the comic books, you will like that it pays off in this way. But the key to everything is that in every other universe, Wade and Logan are besties. but not this one.
That Deadpool has a monocle and a white mustache.
Yes, there is an entire universe in which people have mustaches, but the mustache style is important to the storyline, but I'm not going to mess that up for you because it's pretty fun.
Okay.
By the way, that's it. I've decided I'm getting a mustache tattooed right here. I'm just done.
What? What? Like
Just-
this?
Just so I go like this.
But you already have a mustache, Kyle.
I know, but I'm gonna get like a curly Q one.
Okay.
Yeah. So I definitely missed something because two of this original trio of heroes aren't here. Something happens to them. And all the bad kids that got turned are running amok and taking people out for fun. You ever seen monkeys controlled by vampires eat a person? Because I have in this book.
Wow.
Not something I think I'd ever see, but it's there. And it sounds as gross as, I mean, it looks as gross as it sounds. Trust me. These evil kids in this book are just, they're having the time of their afterlives. They're killing people. And, you know, the heroes in this, since the heroes happen to be vampires as well, they're being blamed for it. It's almost like folks don't know these other vampires, these bad vampires are out there. So they think it's these hero vampires that are doing all this. And apparently, I learned something in this universe. If you have ever invited somebody into your home and later on they're turned into a vampire, that still counts. It still counts because our main hero that's left in this one, she was friends with all these kids when they were younger. So they all came to her house for her 6th birthday. So after they got turned, they can still enter her home whenever they want.
I don't like this rule.
No, me neither. I didn't like it at all once stuff started happening because they're toying with her now, sending her text messages. There's a part where they basically say that they attacked her family, but they were messing with her. But when she goes to see her family, she sees something that indicates that they actually had been in the house. So she decides she's got to find the other friends. And I won't tell you what happened with the other friends because honestly, I don't know because I missed it in the issue before. Like I said, it's just I need to get a hold of the last issue to find out what happens, but I have been digging this series. Like, I encourage folks to check this out. It's not your typical vampire comic, but it is at the same time because it's vampires. There's only so much you can do with vampires, but the heroic aspect of it, and then now having a villains on par with them, makes it interesting to me. So I really dug this book. So do yourself a favor, check it out. It's pretty cool.
All right. So this book doesn't come out for a few weeks. But I wanted to read it now because you could still get your orders in at your local comic shop for this book. Missing on the Moon is the story of a space detective, which sounds like a really cool job, living in a colony on the moon. And something goes awry because otherwise, why would you need a detective? There's a little girl missing and he has to find him. As it turns out, though, there are multiple different groups of people living on the moon. There's the people who live in the colony. Then there's the Darksiders who live on the dark side of the moon. And then there's some other people who are like, in my brain, the way I read it is they're the people who are on drugs. And then the other problem is to control the population, people are fired out of an airlock into space. Like, just know that is a thing that can happen to you here. And this is the story of this missing little girl, and there's some definite sci-fi-ness to it. There's some definite murder mystery stuff to it. There's some definite like spaciness that's worth looking into for sure in this book. I will likely read this book again the week it comes out and have a longer, more thorough review for y'all. But this book is something you should, if you're into sci-fi, you're into space, you're into detective-y, definitely add this to your pull list. Call your local comic shop by Monday. You might have had to FOC it by yesterday, now that I think about it. But call your local comic shop, see if you can still get in on an order for this one, and pick it up.
Okay, getting a little bit quicker with this one. So, Rocketeer, I'm getting tired of Cliff fighting the same bad guys he's been fighting for what feels like 100 freaking years now.
Hey, that's my line.
Yeah. So we're in a prison. Cliff's about to be shot by these guards that aren't real guards. But then the real guards come around the corner, distract the fake ones, and Cliff uses the rocket inside the prison. I've never seen the rocket used like in an enclosed space. So I thought that was kind of cool. Like, it's not open air. He's in this prison. Well, the rest of the prisoners get let out and they start attacking Cliff. And Cliff has to tell them, I'm chasing these bad guys. One of the inmates recognizes him from saving a busload of people that include kids. And one of the inmates is like, my nephew was on that. And then Cliff is like, well, I'm fighting the not so good guys over here. And one of the guys is like, not so good guys. Never mind. Let him go. So Cliff does just that, chases him. I don't think he catches him down because I kind of skimmed this book. But it's a Rocketeer book, folks. I'm just ready for him to get a new kind of villain. I'm tired of seeing him fight the same things every time. But still, if you're a Rocketeer fan, pick it up.
Okay. Coming straight out of the after effects of the Venom War,
Thank God it's over.
Well, kind of.
Well, but they're not going to call books Venom or something else. Everybody else thinks it's a title.
No. Okay, so this entire book, well, a lot of this book, takes place in a courtroom. They're actually trying Madame Mask for something. She's ready to face her punishment for all the crazy stuff that she did during the Venom War, as there's been like this other war that's been going on for control over, the bad guy, everything's. Okay, so it's neat the way it's laid out because they have people that are in the courtroom that they say, okay, we don't know who the symbiote actually chose. We don't know who ended up with the Venom symbiote. So they say these are the people that we think might be. Okay, so they're like one by one, the people in the courtroom, including Madame Mask, they actually like say this person could be it. Luke Cage could be it. Who are the like Robbie Robertson? There's some other people that are like they name, and then there are baddies that show up to probably break out Madame Mask, and during that chaos, Venom shows up. But of course, there are 4 people missing from the courtroom when Venom shows up, so you're pretty certain it's going to be one of those 4. But it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. It's really cool. It is clear from the storytelling that neither Eddie nor Dylan got the symbiote. So it's neither one of them according to the storyline. So, and you do see one of them at the end of the book who seems really pissed off that they didn't end up with it. So that's going to be ongoing. He's going to keep on trying for the symbiote. I think I know who it is. I think the key is in the subtle coloring of the Venom logo and suit. That's all I'll say.
Bloody and Violent was the theme for me this week. Some of the panels in this PDF were mixed up though. So I got some really cool kills and it was like watching it in reverse. So like I said, this was a super interesting book. I've only read issue 1. This is issue 4, but I don't feel like I need to read the issues in between for some reason. Like I'm not the biggest Sonya fan. So again, this is one of those I tell you, if you're a Sonya fan, if you've been reading this, you've been digging this, you definitely need to check this out. For me, it's going to get a hashtag not that bad.
All right. That's it. We managed to get through it all. Want to remind you guys, we've got great shows coming up the rest of the week here on The Experience. Coming up next, we've got Mint Hunter, followed by Honest Henry from Chicago at 10 o'clock. Miss Jen is over on CBSN immediately following this. Then tomorrow, we've got Comic Collectibles. We've got 360 Comics. On Thursday, we've got the Dan Wickline Show. Miss Jen is back with What's in the Box. Comic Dunes. Your friend Jeff from previously Jam Comics. Comic Dunes is back on Thursday. He's got a friend named Dominic who will be with him. They have killer books. They've just, again, blown up my phone with what they're going to be offering. It's going to be expensive for Kyle if Kyle is dumb enough to tune in. Everybody else should definitely tune in because it's not dumb for you to tune in. It's dumb for me with the collection I want to buy. Anyway, and then then followed from them is Sketch Up on Thursday, as always. Again, guys, you got to see what they're offering on Comic Dunes. My gosh. Okay, then Friday, new show debuting at noon Eastern on Friday. New show alert. New show alert. New show alert. You saw it in our mailer. A show called Order Up. The FOC, or the Final Order Cutoff show, is coming to you live for the first time on Friday at noon. Hosted by Matthias Lewis of Nowhere Comics and Games, who's a great retailer, good friend of Jen and I's. He is hosting a show where we talk about the things you need to order this week. So call your comic shop by Monday and place an order for these books, kind of thing. This is the only way you can guarantee your covers, right? This is the only way you can make sure you get what you need, is to have it ordered by FOC. So great show there. We've got the art show on Friday with Nick, and then Nancy on Friday evening. And then I have to talk to Jay. I think we're going to do a show on Sunday with the Producers Live Sale, but we may not. We're going to figure that out here in a few minutes. But guys, tune in for everything. The next Monday, we'll be back with our normal slate of shows. It's going to be awesome. Thank you for being here. If you're traveling or you need to find a local comic shop nearby to you, comicshoplocator.com, comicshoplocator.com, comicshoplocator.com. We will see everybody next time.
Join the party. Head over to our link tree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time.